Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Pits of Motorcast. It's your host, Dave. I got line special guest Dragster driver from the East Coast, Ed Krajewski. How you doing, Ed?
Good, Dave. How are you?
Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. Yeah, not many people get it right, but you said it right.
All right. So, how's your weekend been going?
Good, good. Little bit of wet weather. Glad to see the snow finally melting, which is it's always a good thing for someone that enjoys being at the racetrack.
So, speaking about being at the racetrack, how was racing last year with the COVID going on?
It was a hit or miss season. We got a late start to the season. Weren't sure, if the tracks were going to be able to be open. I know, we did get in some racing. We did start in May. We did get to the tracks last year for some races, so that was good. We a crew for a funny car team. We didn't really get out a whole lot with them. I think we only had one or two events. It was hit or miss. Obviously not ideal, but we were able to get out and do what we love to do.
So, how did the Dragster run for you?
Good. Yeah, I've been running this Dragster since 2013, and it's just a fun car to drive. It was actually in the beginning. I pulled it out of a barn. It was a rolling chassis. I ended up buying. It's funny. I started in the very beginning driving a Fox body Mustang that I traded a '66 Mustang for. It was really more of a street car, but it was supercharged, fun car. We ran that for a couple of years, and then we ended up moving up to a Dragster, and pretty quickly, found this Dragster, pulled out of a barn, found another Dragster, which was a complete Dragster, but it was a hardtail car, but it had a nice fresh engine in it. So pulled it all apart, put it all together, put this Dragster together, and we've been running it since 2013 now.
So, what got you into drag racing in the first place, Ed?
Wow, man. Honestly, back in the 80s, being outside of Philadelphia here, I was lucky enough to, we had Englishtown. So we had some, friends in the neighborhood that took me to some races, going to ACO and stuff growing up. So just, being at the racetrack as a kid, it was always something that just, amazed me. So, it was something, my dad back before I was born, he raced a little bit, he was into, muscle cars and stuff like that. But, growing up, it wasn't something we were at the racetrack every weekend like that or anything. It was just something that we did during the summer. We'd go see these races, and it was something that was always special for me. It always kind of stuck with me. So when I had the opportunity to actually start racing myself, I jumped all over it.
So, what year did you begin your drag racing career?
I'd say actually 2011 was probably the first year we really started racing competitively. We raced in the SBRA series, which is an 8th mile bracket racing series out of Beaver Springs Dragway out in central PA. So we started 2011, raced the Fox body for a few years, got into it, and decided to move up to the Dragster, and we've been doing it ever since.
So, what's the fastest ET you've had with the Dragster?
Right now, the fastest we've been with it was 8:15. But like I said, we were talking last night. I have a brand new 555 big block, which it's actually been ready for the last 3 weeks. It's dynoed. It's ready to crated up, ready to be shipped to me. My engine builder's been afraid to ship it because of the weather. So we're going to be, the car's all tore apart. We're going to be putting that in. This year we should be running well into the 7s with it.
So now, what's the meaning to it's about the warrior on the Dragster?
Oh, all right. So, yeah, it's about the Warrior Foundation. These guys it's a group of guys. They work in Pennsylvania and some of the local states here. They work with, veterans, wounded veterans, guys, I have a, soft spot in my heart for these guys. My grandfather was a World War II veteran, a lot of family and friends. So when I got the car, I had this, big, 23-foot long black Dragster, and I was like, look, man, like if I can raise some awareness for what these guys are going through, for me it was a great thing to be able to do that. So we put it on the car. As soon as I bought the Dragster, we put it together. We tested it one weekend, and the weekend after that, we had these decals on there, and we've been running them ever since.
Yeah, anybody out there that might be listening that served the country, thank you for serving.
Absolutely. Yeah, these guys, I mean, they put everything on the line so that we can do the things that we do. So it's very grateful for these guys.
So how was your first time experience going on a drag strip ever?
You know what? It was nerve-wracking. It was back in that Fox body. It was an '89 Fox body, supercharged car. It was not really a drag car. It was fast, but it really wasn't set up for drag racing. But went out and had a great time that first night. And after that, just having friends, over the house. And we just started trying to make the car go faster and faster and faster, which, we did that for 2 years. Had a blast. My buddy Nate, Jay, John, Joe, I mean, these guys would come over, hang out in the garage, drink beers, and, try to make this car go fast. So it was, that's how it all got started.
Still there?
After that.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, you kind of cut out for a second.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, but so that's how it all started, and then after that, I caught the bug and decided to jump into the Dragster. That was definitely a completely different experience than being in a door car. But from the very beginning, I mean, even when we first started racing the Fox body, I'd be at the racetrack. I'd be walking around looking at the Dragster. It's just something I've always been really interested in. So when I in 2000, it was probably end of 2012. Made the decision that we were going to buy a Dragster. It was, it was something I've always wanted to do. So to be able to jump in the car and, put it together and go fast like that, it was a dream come true for me.
So now, who are all the crew members that keep this Dragster running good, Ed?
Oh boy. Well, let's see. We have my dad, Ed Senior. He's been honestly last year. We was kind of a skeleton crew. It was just really him and I most weekends going out to the track. My buddy Nate, he's been from day one. Him, Joe. It's funny, the story, when we built this Dragster, we literally did it at the racetrack. So I had the one Dragster chassis, and then we went and picked up the other Dragster, and we put this car together at Beaver Springs Dragway with actually the track owner now, Mike McCracken, a couple of the other guys there at the track, helped me put this car together. And so it's funny. We've not until probably 3 years ago, I actually have a shop big enough to have this Dragster. I've been working out of a race trailer and, working in a field at the drag strip, putting this thing together. So it's a fun story.
So now, do you have any sponsors?
Not any, big sponsors. I've got some guys, Smith Systems, Joe Moore, great guy. I'm actually, they helped me out with some sensors we're going to run this year on the new engine. Outside of that, we don't really have a lot of sponsors. The charity thing with It's About the Warrior, that's really been our focus. The biggest sponsor, I guess, would probably be myself and my wife, Megan, who thankfully is very patient with me.
Yeah, your biggest sponsor is your pocket.
Exactly. Visa, MasterCard. Yeah, they're all. But no, it's from the beginning, it's really there's been a lot of guys that have helped me. I mean, there's K&M Speed over here in Levittown, which is where I grew up. Mike, the owner there, awesome guy. Back in the day when we were putting these cars together, it's sometimes you don't know what you're going to need, what fittings you're going to need, and this guy would literally give me like boxes of fittings and just say, let's just bring back what you don't use. And it's stuff like that that really it's why I love this sport so much. It's just the people.
So what drag racers inspired you or you look up to?
I mean, back in the day, obviously, being at the track with, Bernstein and Garlitz and Prudhomme, those are all the big names. I was never really huge as drag racing fan. For me, it was more just about, getting to the track and just everything that was going on. It was like a circus, So, then there were local guys. I mean, back when I first started going to the racetrack, we would go to ACO. There was a local guy, Bagley, he had a car called the Levittown Rat. And, seeing local guys like that, who, I have friends that were friends with them. So, that type of thing. It's, I looked up to all of them. It's cool to see what these guys were out doing, putting it all on the line.
Yeah, I'm sure you look up to Joe Morrison.
Joe's a great friend. Honestly, I'm glad you brought him up. Joe and I have been working together the last couple of years. I do, my business. I do insurance. So I do all kinds of personal lines, commercial. We also now this past year we've been doing a lot of motorsports insurance, and Joe's been a huge help in helping to bring some attention to that for me. So he and I actually have some good stuff coming up here in the next couple weeks. Can't talk a whole lot about it. He'll definitely be making those announcements. But we do have coming up in March 16th, right after he gets back from the Internationals. He and I are going to be doing an Ask Me Anything online to promote some of the things we got going on. So, yeah, he's a good friend. I've been able to travel with him a little bit doing some of the funny car racing that we do. And, he's definitely a good person to, be able to reach out to when I have these questions. Rocky Perone, he and I have been friends for years now. Having guys like this that I can just, have on speed dial when I get stuck with something, it's great to have people like that to look up to.
Oh, yeah, Rocky's a great guy.
Absolutely, yep. Yeah, these, all of them. I mean, you look at, Rocky, Joe is there, Brian Golick, he has a top half on funny car, Rick, John, Steve, all the guys that, we run around with these funny cars, it's such a good group of people, and it's awesome having such a resource, because, a lot of the guys I race with, they're generational racers, they race with their dads, their moms, their grandparents, that's not something that I really had, so for me, in the last 10 years, I've really, relied a lot on, YouTube and thankfully, friends that are willing to answer, all the questions that I ask. So it's, but it's great having people like that you can look up to and call friends. Absolutely.
So what do you enjoy most about being a drag racer, Ed?
You know what? It's honestly pretty much any pass down the drag strip that doesn't begin with a red light is, it just never gets old. I mean, every single pass I'm going down the track, in the back of my mind, it's just like, I can't believe I get to do this. It's just, for me, it's, the cars, figuring out problems. I mean, that's always been something I've been interested in. My background is science. So, going to the racetrack and making things work, it's just, for me, that's what it's all about.
Now, is there anything you hate about being a drag racer besides the money?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think. Summertime when it's 120 degrees in the staging lanes and you're waiting, you're next to go and someone wheels down the track. Yeah, that can get frustrating. But outside of that, it's we just have so much fun. We really do. It's always been for me. The racing thing's always been about being there with my family, my friends. So even when things aren't great, back in the early days with the Fox body, there was a time where I think we went through 3 superchargers in 1 week. Obviously, when that stuff starts happening, and you can't get problems fixed, that starts to get a little frustrating. But, once you turn it around and you make it work, it's that much more rewarding. So.
Now, when you're out there in the staging lanes, do you have any previous rituals or superstitions when you're out there?
Not really. No, it's really the last, now it'll be 6 years in the drag, last 5 years here in the Dragster. I've really just made it a point to try to just do everything exactly the same every time. I don't really have any big rituals. I keep my grandfather's initials on the inside of my Dragster right over my shoulder. That's probably as far as the pre-race ritual, I always kind of give him a fist pound. But outside of that, I just try to do the same thing every time, just focus on what I'm there to do, and just try to have fun. I've realized in the very beginning I was taking it way too seriously and struggled being successful. I try to go out there and just have fun, try to focus on what I'm doing, and it seems like, do that, the more relaxed I am, and the more relaxed I am, the more successful I am.
So if you didn't become a drag racer, Ed, what would be your big full-time hobby now? Any idea?
Man, well, I don't know. Back in the day, I used to play a lot of paintball. I do some brewing beer now. So, honestly, I think if I wasn't drag racing during the summer, I'd end up probably brewing a lot more beer. But no, it's, Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I'd really want to do. I mean, it was something that was always kind of in the back of my mind. Never really had the means to make it happen. Started my own business a couple years ago, and it got to a point where we were able to, put it together, make it happen, and just be smart about it. And so now I don't think there's a whole lot else I would probably be doing if I couldn't do this.
So if you could have the fans that come watch you race remember one thing about you, Ed, what would you want that one thing to be that they remember about you?
Honestly, it would be the same thing I'd probably say about a lot of the guys that we race with. They're just good guys. I always make it a point. People come up and talk to us. We put kids in the car. Always try to answer the questions. It's the kids are what's the most important thing. I mean, they're the racers of the future. I have my 10-year-old son. I take him to the drag strip with me, and he has an ATV. He runs down the track and stuff. So it's for me. It would probably just be nice people, and how inviting the racing family really is to people.
Now, do you think that you can get any better as a drag race driver? And if so, how do you achieve that to get better?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, there's absolutely, yeah. It's all about seat time. It's all about putting the time in. It really is. Rocky always talks about the races are won at the shop, and he's right. Putting a car on the track, when you're not out there chasing your tail trying to figure out problems, it makes it a lot easier to be successful. For me, it's all about just trying to always better myself, spend time on the practice tree, just try to learn, just really try to get better at, and ask questions. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me.
All right. Now, have you reached any milestones in your racing career so far?
Oh man, not really. No, I mean we've won some races, we've turned on some win lights. I mean, honestly, I guess that's the biggest milestone. Yeah, we're having fun. As far as the other stuff, I mean, obviously getting to have my company logo on a Top Fuel car last year. I mean, that's a dream come true. We're helping to sponsor Joe's car again this year with Leverage Racing. So, for me, that's awesome. Unfortunately, last year with COVID, I didn't get to make it out to any of the events. This year, I'm hoping to make it, maybe down to Virginia, possibly maybe Charlotte. I mean, outside of that, and just being able to, be on the track and do what we're doing and call these guys friends. I mean, that's really, I couldn't ask for a whole lot more than that.
So now, Ed, if someone might be listening to this interview right now, whether it be a young child or an adult, and they maybe they're going to think about doing drag racing, what kind of advice would you give?
Oh, man. Ask questions. Yeah. Find people that you can, that are willing to share their secrets with. Not necessarily secrets. No, just, make sure you're willing to ask questions. Don't be embarrassed. I think that's, for a lot of people, it's intimidating. You think about it, you go to a drag strip, you don't have any idea what you're doing in the very beginning. It could be scary, but a lot of the drag strips, man, those people and the staff they have there are so helpful. And if people were, nervous about it, they can ask people. There's people there that are willing to help you. We talk about it a lot. Joe and I both talk about, the racing family. And that's really what it is. I mean, when you're at the track, it really, majority of the people you talk to are going to be willing to give you a hand if you need it, or at least point you in the right direction. So, make sure you ask questions. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the sport of drag racing is all one big happy family, and everyone's willing to help each other out all the time.
Yeah, it really is. I've seen, guys that are helping each other in the pits between rounds, and then, guys are going to race each other, and you line up against your best friend sometimes, and, what happens, but, as soon as you're off the track, your best friends again. It really is, man. It's there's nothing like it. There's not very many sports in the world where, you have drivers interacting with fans the way they are, teams helping each other out. I mean, it really is cool to see. So I'm super excited to be part of that.
Now, for your dragster, there's a lot of preparation going to getting that dragster ready for weekend racing?
Honestly, the dragster's pretty easy. It's, thankfully, going from a door car to a dragster, I mean, there's no fenders to be leaning over. But, that's one of the beautiful things about it. It really is a pretty easy car to work on. I mean, other than, checking your valve glass, just doing a once over on the car for the most part, it's you put fuel in it and go.
Now, do you run quarter mile or eighth mile?
We do both. So the SBRA series that I compete in, which is, we do, I think now we're up to 12 or 13 races a year. That is all eighth mile. There is some, IHRA races that we go to, but for the most part, when we're, as far as point series, we run the SBRA series out of Beaver Springs.
So you have a preference, quarter or eighth mile?
Obviously the quarter mile is faster, so it's a little more fun. As far as, parts and stuff like that, eighth mile racing, it is what it is. I mean, that's where a lot of these things are going to. We get a big race coming up in June. We have the Mutt and Jeff race at Beaver Springs. It's June 17th. That's all eighth mile racing. Usually a couple hundred cars at that race. So, it's races like that. It's a lot of fun. You get people that come in from all over the place. So it's fun to race, a lot of new people. So
what are some of your favorite tracks to go race on?
Beaver Springs is my home track. Honestly, that's 99% of our races are there. We've been, ACO in the beginning, obviously that was our, home track. That was the closest track to the house here. So we did a lot of racing there. Obviously Englishtown was a great track. Now with the funny cars, we get up to Epping, Island Dragway, a great little track in New Jersey. Yeah, it's, Cecil County, Maryland. We've hit up a lot of tracks here up on the East Coast here. And, honestly, Beaver Springs is my favorite. That's, I drive from Philadelphia out to Beaver Springs. It's a 2.5, 3 hour drive, to race there. I love Central Pennsylvania. I love that part of the state. So it's, for me, that's my favorite track, and I'm happy to be able to call it home.
Now, do you know a big funny car fan that's out at all those tracks named Eric Paon?
I'm sorry, who was that?
Eric Paon.
Eric Paon. The name doesn't sound familiar to me, no.
Paone.
It's not ringing a bell right now.
Yeah, he's a huge funny car fan.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I think anybody that's in the drag race has to be a funny car fan. I mean, that's those cars. It's I was always interested in them. Being able to actually get up close and personal and actually start to work on some of them. I mean, these cars are just really, really fun. It's not my cup of tea. I mean, I honestly enjoy having my engine behind me. I'm a little bit claustrophobic. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'8", 275, 280. So, for me, just cram into a funny car, I don't think it would work well. But, yeah, it's awesome cars to work on, I can tell you that.
Now, where do you get your fire safety equipment from, Ed?
Fire safety equipment. Well, most of it's, Simpson, RJS. My race suit's actually, I had a custom suit a couple of years ago at the Motorsports Show here in Philly. A company called Velocita out of North Carolina. They were there doing measurements and stuff, so they actually built me a custom suit, which is good because, again, I'm a big guy. So for me, for a while, finding stuff that fit was tough. But yeah, I run a Simpson Bandit helmet, Simpson belts in the car, DJ safety parachute, just replaced that. All good companies, man.
So what's been one of your most memorable races?
I probably have to say, honestly, it was a race I took runner-up. It was Memorial Day. It was our first Memorial Day weekend with the Dragster. We got out of Beaver Springs. They do, jet cars and stuff on Friday night, and then Saturday is a big race. So we made it to the finals that night. That was a lot of fun. I mean, lots of people there. My family was all there with me. I remember my son. I think final round was after 11 o'clock at night. So I think my son was sleeping on the golf cart after a race, and just that's the kind of stuff. It was cool to be able to be there and do that with everybody that was there with me.
Now, have you had any accidents or close calls in your drag racing career so far?
No, knock on wood. Thankfully, I can say that I haven't. Yeah, I mean, we've been pretty good about things. You know, I make it a point to we take safety really seriously. I mean, I wear a Hans device in the car. You know, I really we do take that seriously. You know, make it a point to go over the car pretty regularly. So again, it's like Rocky says. You know, as long as the car is ready, you know, anything can happen at any time. But you know, if you get ahead of it and you really try to stay on top of things, it's easy to make sure that things don't go that way as much as possible.
So now, as far as the sport of drag racing goes, Ed, do you have anything on a bucket list that you would love to try in drag racing one day?
Oh man, I would like to. Honestly, I want to see some more tracks. I would like to get out the West Coast. I'd like to get up to Alaska and drag race up there. For me, it's been cool to travel around a little bit and sort of see some of these tracks. I mean, we got married. My wife and I got married down in the Bahamas. I mean, I ended up finding a drag strip in the Bahamas where they were doing back. They had literally just poured this drag strip. They were doing flag starts and stuff. But it was just cool to see. So for me, I mean, that's my big thing. I want to get to some more tracks. I told Joe Morrison one of the big things I do have to say that is on my list is I definitely want to get down to the four wides and see what that's like. You know, especially being on the starting line, four top fuel cars. I can't even imagine what that would be like.
Now, do you have any desire to ever drive a top fuel car?
You know what? I don't think that I would. You know, I mean, if I could find one that I could fit in, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be against it. You know, I'm happy doing what I do now. You know, I'm not out here trying to rotate the earth. You know, I've always been you know, you can always go faster. You can spend as much money as you want. You go fast and fast and fast, but faster you go, the more things start breaking. So I've always been, happy with what we've been doing. You know, if the opportunity presented itself, I'm sure I wouldn't turn it down.
Or how about like a nostalgia front engine dragster?
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff. I think anything outside of the funny cars with the with the bodies coming down. That's the other thing I'm not crazy about. I'm a big guy, so I have a hard enough time, getting in and out from under the bodies of those cars to work on them. I can't imagine trying to crawl in and out of one. So, but yeah, I mean, any type of open cockpit type car like that, I'd probably jump in with no problem.
Are you ready for some fun questions though?
Sure, absolutely.
So outside of drag racing, what other hobbies do you have? I know you go fishing. I've seen your fishing pictures. You got largemouth bass and all that stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, we do a lot of fishing. That's actually this year was one of the things that we got back into with COVID happening. Trying to do things outside. Got my wife and my son out. We did a lot of fishing this summer. So yeah, fishing, hunting. I've always been kind of into the outdoors. Again, brewing beer, in the off season, it's, I brew beer to, drink during the summer and in the spring. So yeah, I mean, those are the big ones. I mean, anything outside for the most part, I'm interested in it.
So you a big bass fisherman?
Yeah. With, being out in Central PA, I was always wanting to the smallmouth. So did a lot of, I went to school out in Central Pennsylvania, not far from the track that I race at, and a lot of good rivers out there loaded with smallmouth bass. So yeah, that was always my thing, was smallmouth bass fishing.
All right. So now, have you won any trophies or plaques or anything throughout your racing career so far?
Yeah, we've won some small races. I mean, nothing major, but it's funny. The first race I won, we got the trophy. I brought it home, and at the time, it was my first year with the Dragster. So back, I think it was, what was it, 2013, 2014. So, my son was much younger. As soon as I walked in with the trophy, he immediately grabbed it and ran with it, and it, still to this day calls it his trophy. So, yeah, we've got some small ones laying around. Yeah.
So you think you ever get a drag racer out of that 10-year-old boy of yours?
It's funny. He's got the track that we race at. They have a junior ATV program, so these kids can actually go out and bracket race the ATVs. And he's got a little, Raptor 90 he runs around on, and he goes out. He loves doing the test and tune thing. He's raced it a couple times. I'll be honest, he doesn't like losing. He's incredibly competitive. So the kid just does not like losing. His first round, he went out. He won the first round. Second round, he came back and lost, and he was just heartbroken. So It's something I think he'll grow into it a little bit. But honestly, for him, he's excited just going down the track. Just doing time shots, just trying to be consistent, trying to cut good lights. He sits over here in the garage with me sometimes doing the the practice tree and stuff. So he's interested. He just for him, it's kind of like since he's been around, I've always had kind of a race car. So I think he doesn't necessarily realize that like not everybody has a dragster sitting in the garage. So I think at some point he'll start to get a little more interested in it.
So now, Ed, if you were able to find a time travel machine and go backwards in time, would you do anything differently with your racing career?
Honestly, I would have just jumped in a dragster from the beginning. If I could have made that happen from the beginning, yeah. I mean, the Mustang was a fun car to race, but it's all about seat time, And that's honestly that's one of the reasons why I race out in Central PA. Is when I first started racing, it was I'd go to the tracks around here and I'd get 2 or 3 passes in the entire evening, and then I'd go out to Beaver Springs and we'd run all day. If anything, yeah, I mean, if I had gotten into the dragster a couple years earlier, it would just be I'd be a couple years ahead of where I am right now as far as seat time, which for me is I've always found it's the most important thing.
All right, so now if you and the family ever have time to go on a vacation getaway, what's your ideal vacation getaway?
Oh, well, let's see. 2 years ago, we went to Disney World. That was definitely a good trip. Outside of that, the place where we go most often is the beach. We're not too far here from New Jersey, so we do at least once or twice a year we do a trip down to the shore and just spend time at the beach.
All right, what's your favorite food to eat?
Favorite food? Well, being from right outside of Philadelphia, I gotta say a Philadelphia cheesesteak. Yeah, I mean that's probably not the most healthy thing in the world, but it's if I'm gonna eat junk food, it's probably gonna be my go-to.
Now, does the wife cook?
Yeah, Megan, my wife Megan, she's actually a great cook. Yep, we both do some cooking here. I probably cook a little bit more than she does, but she's awesome at the grill. So during the summertime, once the summer it's warm enough and we're grilling, she's running the grill, a couple nights a week, burgers, chicken. So yeah, we do our fair share.
So do you have a favorite dish that your wife makes?
Oh man, she does. She has awesome spaghetti and meatballs. She does. She makes great meatballs. So that's I'd say that's probably my favorite.
What's one of your best dishes to cook?
Man, trying to think. I do chili. That's my thing. Being a hunter. I'm a big fan of venison chili. So I'll make venison chili. We do that pretty regularly, especially this time of year when it's cold. That's probably my go-to.
So what's your favorite beverage?
Favorite beverage? Well, like I said, I brew beer, so I'm a big beer fan. I enjoy. I like a good stout. A good Guinness. That's a good beer. Also, good summertime IPA. All good stuff.
Then, if you're going non-alcoholic, what's your favorite beverage?
Honestly, outside of probably water. Honestly, I don't drink a whole lot of. I don't drink soda. I really try not to drink soda. I mean, during the summertime at the track, probably the thing you're going to see me with is either Gatorade or coconut water. Those are the 2 things that I probably drink the most outside of water.
Do you drink coffee?
Yeah, I don't drink any caffeine at all. So I drink black decaf coffee, which I know I have some friends right now that are probably screaming at their phones. But yeah, I cut out caffeine probably 10 years ago. I've always kind of been an anxious person to begin with, so I realized caffeine wasn't the best thing in the world for me. So I cut that out, and now I just do black decaf coffee.
Do you drink milk?
Yeah. I mean, I'll drink milk. Yeah, I'm not honestly outside of coffee, beer, and water. I honestly don't drink a whole lot of other things.
No OJ?
No, I'm not. Again, man, I'm not a big juice fan. I mean, listen, if somebody pours me a glass of orange juice, I'm not going to turn it away. But yeah, I just, especially now with during the summer stuff with the heat, it's real easy to get dehydrated. So I really have been trying to increase the amount of water I drink. I really try to stay on top of that. So that's my focus. No soda, I really try to stay away from the sugary drinks.
All right, so what's your favorite type of music to listen to?
I listen to everything, really. I mean, I'm a huge Tool fan. I've been, I've played in some bands back in college and after college, and Tool, Seven Dust, some harder music like that. But I also love, Fish. I also love the Grateful Dead. I have kind of a wide taste in music.
So what instrument do you play?
I played guitar for years. I played saxophone for years. Sang in the band for a couple of years. So, yeah, I've outside of that, I've messed around with, trying to learn how to play the piano and stuff. I'm not very good at anything like that. But, for the most part, it was saxophone and guitar.
So you still dabble with any of the instruments at all?
Honestly, I mean, I keep a guitar over here in the shop next to the Dragster, so sometimes when I'm sitting over here, I'll strum the guitar a little bit, but not the way I used to be. I was much more into music younger. Now, honestly, between work, family, race, and stuff like that, I don't find the time for it.
So were you self-taught on guitar, or you took lessons?
Both. I mean, I took lessons, very early on, learned enough to, be dangerous with it. And then, from there went and started, teaching myself a lot of the songs I wanted to play, stuff like that. But yeah, I did take lessons, same guy that I took saxophone lessons from, I think, fifth grade on to out through high school. Same guy that was giving me saxophone lessons also helped me learn how to play guitar.
So what guitarists were some of your biggest influences?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I said Tool at the beginning, Adam Jones. I mean, these guys they're just, they're unbelievable. My wife actually, right before COVID happened, all this started, we actually got to go see Tool down in Philadelphia. And we're reminded once again why that's probably my favorite band. I mean, they're just incredible.
No other guitar players?
Oh man, I'm trying to think back growing up. I mean, guys from Stone Gossip, the guys from Pearl Jam. I mean, I was a real big fan of Pearl Jam growing up. I mean, I was, for the most part, I listened to everything. So there weren't any specific guitar players that really stood out for me. I was just, again, it was one of those things. Just being able to play guitar and playing guitar in a band and do the stuff we were doing. I was just happy to be there doing that.
So who's your top 3 favorite bands of a lifetime?
Oh boy, top 3 favorite bands of a lifetime. I'd probably say Tool would be number. It's hard to say number 1, 2, and 3. I'm gonna probably say Tool, the Beatles, and I don't know who the third one would be. Probably Tool, the Beatles. I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. I mean, my dad. I've seen Bruce a bunch of times with my parents. They're big Springsteen fans, and being from this area, obviously, I'm a big Bruce fan. I'd probably say he's that'd probably be my top 3.
So what kind of guitar do you own?
Let's see. Well, I had a Gibson Les Paul. I actually let that go. Now I'm trying to think. I have an old Washburn electric guitar. I have an Ibanez acoustic electric. That's the one that I tool around in the shop with. But those are the 2. I have some other old acoustics and stuff from when I was younger. But those are the 2 that I play more often than anything else.
You have a favorite movie of all time?
World's Fastest Indian. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
No.
It's about the motorcycle racer. Yeah, that's probably one of my all-time favorite movies. That was just such a cool story.
So when you were growing up as a little kid, Ed, did you have a favorite cartoon to watch?
Oh, man. Growing up, it was all Looney Tunes stuff. So, it was actually funny the other day. My son was talking about this new movie that just came out, Tom and Jerry. And I was like, joking with him. I'm like, yeah, that didn't just come out. That was from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, growing up, Tom and Jerry, The Simpsons, the Looney Tunes stuff. That's what I grew up on.
Oh, yeah. Yep, the Flintstones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Flintstones. I mean, yeah. Saturday morning cartoons. I mean, it was. That was the thing growing up. I mean, that's specific. I remember it very vividly.
Did you watch Speed Racer?
Yeah. Speed Racer. I mean, I'm trying to think of. Man, this is going back. I mean, this is back. I remember as a little kid, Saturday mornings, my sister and I getting up before my parents and going out, turning the TV on, getting some bowls of cereal, and just sitting there watching all these cartoons.
Yeah, we had the good cartoons when we were young, not like the generation now.
Yeah, yeah, things have definitely changed significantly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, do you have a biggest pet peeve?
Oh, biggest pet peeve, man. I'd probably say lateness. I can't stand when people are late. I really I do my best to try to be on time with things. My grandfather always used to say to us that if you needed to be somewhere important, make sure you left time to change the tire, flat tire, and if it was really important, make sure you left time to change too. So that's kind of the way I've always been raised, and the way I always done things. So it's for me, it's time is money. I'm a busy person, so when people are late, that's probably my biggest pet peeve.
So you carry that pet peeve in life as well as on the track?
Yeah, it's never fun being late either. Yeah, for sure. No, it's all about perspective. I understand everybody's got, everybody kind of walks to the beat of their own drum. I understand there's people that listen. I mean, I know I have very, very good friends and family that are, consistently late. So, I take it in stride. I try not to hold it against people. I know people got things going on, but, it's for myself. I hold myself to a standard. I really try to avoid that when all possible.
So what's been your fondest memory of drag racing?
Fondest memory. Honestly, it was probably last year. Yeah, it was the first time that we got a win. That I was there with my dad and my son. It was beginning of last season. We went out for one of the first weekends of racing, and had my dad there, had my son there with me. So, yeah, being able to get the winner circle photos with the two of them was probably the best.
So, what are you looking forward to the most for 2021?
We got a lot of cool stuff going on. Like I said, I have my insurance agency, EJKinsurance.com. We do a lot of motorsport stuff. So we're sponsoring the Jalopy Drag Days at Beaver Springs again this year, which is in September. So we got that in September. We got Reading is going to be in September. The NHRA again, obviously excited to see Joe here in Reading and work on some of the stuff that we're doing together. Like I said, the Mutt and Jeff race coming up in June. That's always our biggest race. We're racing for 10,000 on Thursday night, 20,000 Friday, and 10,000 on Saturday. So, anytime you get to a race like that, it's fun, it's exciting. There's lots of people there, lots of new racers. So those are probably the big highlights. Again, like I said, Joe Morrison, we're going to be doing an online event here coming up on March 16th. We're going to be sending some emails out to people about that. So excited about that. Really just getting back to the track and trying to see what this car is going to do with this new big block. That's hopefully we get the engine this week. We can get it in the car and be ready to roll. We're planning on doing. I think testing is pretty much most of April, so we'll probably get out to for a couple testing sessions in April, and then be ready to race in May.
Now, if anyone wants to find out where you're going to be at for the year, what is there a way for them to find out online where you're going to be at?
Yeah, so obviously the Beaver Springs, that's 99% of what I'm doing is with them. So the Beaver Springs website, their Facebook page, they have the calendar up there. We'll be at all the SPRA events there. Like I said, we'll be at the Jalopy Drags there. They can also, catch up with us at Reading with Joe, with the NHRA and the Top Fuel team. Hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping to make it down to Charlotte. At minimum, get down to Virginia with them. Yeah, between his schedule, my schedule, and then whatever we put on the calendar for Rocky and the funny cars, I mean, that's where they'll be able to catch up with me.
Awesome. Well, Ed, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do the interview today.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
Any final words?
No, just excited for the rest of 2021, and that's pretty much it. I'm just excited to be able to get back to the track.
Awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck with the new setup on the Dragster this year.
Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate it.
And you have a great night.
You too. Take care, bud.
Bye.